Good morning and welcome back to Song of Solomon chapter 3. This is the third of an 8-part series, and what an awesome morning. We got a smoky, hazy background, got the moon looking on right here, and I was really anticipating and looking forward to this chapter, talking through this chapter because of the value that it's been for me. So what we talked through Song of Solomon chapters 1 and 2, and what's happening is this girl is so fascinated and taken back and absorbed and loves the king, and she's trying to draw close to him, as well as the daughters of Jerusalem. And there's this chase going on back and forth a little bit, and talking to each other, courting each other, talking about their life with each other. And then it finished up the second chapter with, there's like this acquaintance. There's this acquaintance of desire. It's like they want to take it to the next phase of relationship, but in order to do that, they had to there was a few things that he said do. And besides the courting was so necessary. The love and the desire and the hunger was so necessary, but also there was the need to rise up and come away and get away with the beloved, get away with him. And also the need is there to follow in the footsteps of the flock in the ways that are immature and that we don't know. And then thirdly, there's the need to take the little foxes, to take care of the little things that spoil the vine. So what you have as we transition to chapter 3 is she's doing those things, and it says, by night on my bed I sought the one I loved. I sought him, but I could not find him. So I said, I will rise now, I will go about the streets. And she said, I sought him, but I couldn't find him. Her desire and hunger drove her to do something that was uncommon. And I think that's part of the catalyst that draws Jesus to us, is that when hunger and desire drives us to do something that is beyond what we normally do, we're pushing past the acquaintance phase. We want to know the king. And so she went out on the streets at night looking for him, and couldn't find him. But then she saw 2 watchmen, and it says, scarcely had I passed by the watchmen, I found the one my soul loves, and I held him and would not let go, she said, until I brought him home to the house of her who conceived me. And what I believe it's saying right here is the consummation. It's describing what we know best. The best way we could describe it in our earthly terms would be the consummation of marriage, the mystery of marriage and the beauty of marriage, and how when a man and a woman come together and they say their vows, but then they come and consummate the marriage. I would liken this to that. And that's what, we're taking the little foxes, the desire and hunger, the pursuit is there, the getting up and coming away, and then ultimately the pushing through and past the acquaintance phase. And when we're doing those things, and desire pushes us, that's where Jesus is. And I'm completely sold on this now through all the experiences in my life, that he is closer than we think. I really believe that with everything. What happened to me when I experienced what I consider Song of Solomon 3 is, years ago, I decided I was just so hungry and needing of God, because things were not going good in my life, but yet I was spending time with God every day, and military was going good, but my family stuff wasn't going good, and I needed my walk with God to go good. So what I decided to do was, one day a week, because I couldn't pray every day, I decided one day a week I was going to take the whole day and get away with God. And I would spend at least 8 hours this day. Well, it was only the third time that I'd done this, and since then I've done it who knows how many hundreds of times. But it was the third time. And I remember the night before, I was staying in a hotel at a beach, because I was skydiving down in Florida. And I was so hungry for this next day to be with Jesus. And I remember going to sleep, listening to the Bible, audio Bible in my bed. I was there alone, and I was so hungry for Jesus. I was so hungry and so anticipating the next day that I would have all day to spend with God, just worshiping. And that night, Jesus showed up in my room. It was in the middle of the night. The day was May 1st. My hotel room was 1234. And what happened was, it was nighttime, and I saw him standing across the street. It was just like in the in Song of Solomon 3, and he had two people with him, one on each side, and these are like the watchmen, I think, from that book. And he was he was standing there smiling at me, and I had to cross the street to get to him. And I just remember thinking, man, that's Jesus. There he is. So I started walking towards him. And one thing about him, I wasn't going to say it, but I think I feel like it's okay to, is that he was disguised. He was disguised. He was standing in the street, across the street in the night, and had two people with him, and he was sort of dressed in a way that he was disguised, but I knew it was him. And so I walked across the street, and when I got there, I just bowed at his feet. That's what you do when you get to Jesus, is you bow at his feet. And so he was just smiling at me. He smiled at me and stared at me the whole way I walked over there. And I remember when I saw him, I bowed. I just remember he was smiling at me, such a warm smile. And I laid at his feet. When I bowed at his feet, I was immediately undone, is the most English word I can come up with to describe what happened. I was absolutely undone. I remember three thoughts that penetrated my being, that I said to Jesus with all my heart, and that is, I love you. The second one was, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for me. It's just, when you see his awesomeness. And the last one was, I'll serve you forever. Those were the three and only things that were on my mind as I was absolutely undone at his feet. I love you. I'm sorry for me. And I'll serve you forever. And such an amazing encounter. And I remember when I came to in my room, I was just still amazed. The glory of God was present in my room. Such an amazing thing. And you know, I would love to just keep talking about that, actually. But coming back to Song of Solomon 3, what's amazing about this is, you know, just speaking from a sort of a literal sense, to make a quick explanation, there's 5 more chapters, half a chapter, and then 5 more chapters left just in this book. And I think that's the thing, like, there's no greater thing than the union with Jesus. There's no greater thing than seeing him. There's no greater thing than consummating our marriage with him, and our walk with him, and being one with him. But it doesn't stop there. I'm not done, and he's not done with me. He's not done with us. When we push past the acquaintance phase into the love and you know, marriage and deep relationship phase of relationship with Jesus, we're not done there. We must keep going. There's so much ahead. And that's what I look forward to talking through the rest of these chapters now that we've set that. God is with us. He's with you. He loves us. We're one with him. We're in union and communion with him. But there's more. And it's this process of maturity that he wants us to walk in. So I bless you. And I look forward to going through the rest of these chapters. That's the highlight of this one. There's one thing I did want to mention just out of this chapter that we'll talk about again in chapter 7 or 8. And that's, there's a comment that says, she's saying, look, who is this who comes from the wilderness? Who comes in the wilderness? It's Solomon's couch. And it was like this, she describes what it was. And I just want to highlight that, because we're going to refer back to it in a few chapters ahead, because she's saying, look at this thing. What is this thing moving through the wilderness? What is this thing moving through this dry, arid desert place that has such glory on it? And she describes it being the resting place of Solomon. And it's such an amazing thing, but she is seeing this. And there's a place later where she's the one that's coming from the wilderness. And that's what I think is amazing. But we'll talk about that when we get there. Shalom.